Hi everyone, and welcome to Paper Pumpkin Week here on Creative Chelsey. Over the past couple days, I've shared some great card ideas you can make with the contents from this month's kit. Today I'm sharing with you my 5th alternative card idea using the July 2025 Paper Pumpkin kit called Sweeter With You. If you would like to watch me unbox the kit and create these cards or see any of my other alternatives, you can click on the playlist and I'll link it up in the top right corner. For today's card, I've got a really fun technique on how to get an angled embossing to match an angled piece on your card. So it's a really fun technique, really quick and easy, and I'm excited to share that with you. I love this card. I think it's really playful. It has fun lines and, of course, those beautiful die cuts and color patterns from the kit. And let's go ahead and get started. So from the kit, you are going to need some die cuts. I've got 3 strawberries here. They're all different shapes and sizes, as well as 3 of my flowers. I've got some scratch paper, and that is for my greeting. We're going to be doing some fussy cutting. I also have a strip. This is a 1/4 of an inch strip. It's for my greeting. I've got a good little tip for you on that. I have the leftover piece from the pink and orange plaid. It is 2 3/4 inches by 5.5 inches. It does include the score line because it is one of the card bases from the kit. Just don't worry about it. We're going to put it at the bottom. A lot of it's going to get covered up and they're not even going to notice. I also have a piece of strawberry slush. It is 3 inches by 5.5. And that is going to go underneath our plaid piece. So let's go ahead and add that now. It's going to match on the left and right sides, but just evenly space it on the top and bottom. Okay. So I also will need a piece of basic white cardstock. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4. It's going to be my card front, and it's the piece that we are going to emboss. So the embossing folder that I'm using is this small corrugated folder, and I'm not sure if it's still a current product or not. I really love it, so I haven't retired it from my craft area yet. So I'm going to use this. You could use any directional embossing folder. And what I mean by that is maybe like a plaid would work, or striped lines, something that has is straight. Okay, you don't want to use like florals or leaves or polka dots because you want to get this angled line. Now, if you don't have something like this, you could use any embossing folder, but to do the technique that I'm sharing with you, you're going to want to have this directional line or horizontal line somewhere in your embossing folder. Okay, so what we need to do first is decide what the angle is going to be. Okay, and it doesn't matter. I didn't measure, I just eyeballed an angle that I liked. And you're going to take some washi tape or some repositionable tape. I found this Scotch repositionable tape on Amazon. I'll link it below in my description as well as on my blog. So if you're interested in getting some of that, it's really great. You can even run it through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine with dies, and it doesn't ruin your dies or the paper, any of that. Sometimes when you use regular tape, it will get stuck to the dies and then it's such a pain to pull off and it kind of will get them sticky. So once you have the angle that you like, so I have it angled up higher on the right side, lower on the left, you're going to trim off the sides. So just put it back into your paper trimmer, line up the edge of the white at 4 inches and trim. And then rotate, again, line up at 4 inches and trim. And that's going to give you your piece. Okay, and this is important for the next step. So let's go ahead and remove that angle piece. Actually, we do want to keep the paper or the what am I trying to say? We want to keep the tape on it. We're going to add it to our back here. And what we're going to do is we are going to take this straight edge and you're going to just add it. Find like a straight edge that you can see here, and you're just going to add it to that at that angle. So I'm going to remove this piece so that I can see it a little better. So I'm just finding one of the lines and I'm going to add the straight edge of the angled piece to a straight edge on my folder. Okay. Actually, I might want to move it over just a little bit so it's more in the middle. I have to put something dark underneath this so that I can see it a little bit better. Let me grab something a little darker. Maybe I'll just do this. There we go. Then I can see my lines and I can put it on one of them. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just give it there. And then I'm going to put this other piece on. Okay, so this is our guide. So when we open it up, we're going to put our paper, now we're matching our paper to the angled side. So we put the angled side so it matched the straight edge of our embossing folder, and now the paper matches the angle that we cut. Okay, and then just whoops, don't let it move. Try to make sure it stays in place. Sandwich it into your embossing folder. Okay, so now you can see you're going to emboss your paper at the same angle that we cut, and you can remove this part. Go ahead and run this through your machine and we'll come right back. Okay, so there we go. Fun angled paper, and then we can just add this back to our card. Liquid glue. Make sure that when you're adding adhesive to embossed paper that you're using a nice strong adhesive. My favorite is liquid glue, and I like adding this piece a little higher vertically than in the center. So you see how it's now that angle is being matched by the embossing that we used with that folder. Super cute. Let's go ahead and add this to our card base. I have a card base of thick basic white cardstock. You could use any coordinating color. And, oh, that moved a little bit. Stick it on in the center. Just like that. Very quick, simple, easy technique. So now we're going to add our die cuts. I've got a large, this is kind of a large and skinny strawberry. I'm going to put it off to the left. Again, cover up a little bit of that score line that is left over from the original card base. Let's do a large one near that score line as well. We'll take the small one, pop it up with a dimensional, and just kind of do it over the large one. And then we'll do the flowers in a minute after we do our greeting. So for our greeting, we are going to stamp it a couple times. So I'm using Life is Sweeter with You, and I've got the Garden Green ink spot. Let's start by doing the whole thing just on some scratch paper. We're going to fussy cut out the word sweeter on this one. Then let's go ahead and we're going to stamp the next one. We'll do with you. So you only need to ink up half of your stamp, and you're going to stamp just with you on the 1/4 inch strip that you cut out. You see how it just gets with you, and we're going to trim on the sides. Then we'll ink up Life Is, and stamp that in the center. And we get Life Is. And we can remove all the extra stamping when we cut it down. And if you're using a glass mat, you might need to wipe off the ink. Make sure to dry it so it doesn't get on your card. And then for this one, we're just going to cut out Sweeter. You might be tempted to get really close to these letters, but try to make it a little bit of a wider border so that you have room to add your adhesive. If you get too close to the actual letters, then it's too small for the adhesive to stick to the greeting. Okay, so I've got that done. I have added some dimensionals to the back. Let's go ahead and add the greeting to our card. I'm going to start with Sweeter. The key here is to add it so it's straight on the card, not straight with the angle. So that can be a little bit difficult. So just try to do that. So I've got Sweeter first, and then we're going to go ahead and cut off the sides for Life Is and With You. And then for the backs, you're going to use some dimensionals. And when you take a look at the edges of your dimensionals, you can cut a nice straight edge usually to kind of help support those skinny little strips. So let's start with Life Is. And then we have With You. And I mimicked the angle of the paper with the angle of the greeting. So it's Life Is Sweeter With You. And then we can add the flowers. I've added a couple with some dimensionals. If you want to hide any little extra markings, do you see at that corner we've got a little green? You can pop it underneath a flower or something. This one I'm going to add under the greeting, so I'm going to put a little glue on that, just up here in the corner, just like that. If you want, you can also add some embellishments. I have these purple embellishments. They have some white on, so I'm going to just add these around my strawberries and flowers just to give it a fun look to them. I got about 5 on there, so you can do as many as you want, and your card is all done. I hope you enjoyed watching me create this beautiful alternative using the July 2025 paper pumpkin kit. If you're interested in getting your own kit, please do so using the link in the description box below to subscribe. If you would like to see written instructions, get measurements, see a template on how to cut up the card bases, then you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.